Alright, you guys, so I'm making this video about alcoholism and my tips on how to get through delirium tremens and alcohol withdrawals. This is going to be a very long video because I already have short videos in my archives about alcoholism and how I kind of got through the DTs and delirium tremens. But I wanted to make a really long-winded video because I wanted to produce something that someone going through the DTs can watch that's long and can help them chew up some time, because the DTs can be a very long experience. It can be very tempestuous, it can be very frightening, and I wish I had a long video of motivation and positive words and tips while I went through my experience. So that's why I'm going to create this video. This video is going to be a little bit long and repetitive because I do believe that repetition of a message does constitute mental programming. And when you're going through these experiences, these altered states of consciousness from a lack of ethanol in your system, you can start hallucinating and going through all sorts of crazy experiences. So that's why I wanted to repeat myself often, so that it can hopefully, penetrate through your layers of not necessarily layers, but I just hope that it can get into you, is what I'm saying, and penetrate into your conscious mind, and repetition can do that. So, I'm here at the graveyard. This is just a video I'm making before I play the rest of this footage that I've recorded for you guys. This is also something that people who are sober in general can benefit from. It can be motivating to, hear how important it is to stay sober, because many people don't make it through their addictions. Many people become so addicted to alcoholism and things of that nature that they never really can quit, and that's so unfortunate that so many people will never quit drinking or using meth or using marijuana, all these things. So I'm here at the graveyard just walking around, and there's many people here in this graveyard that I'm at that died from alcoholism, that have died from drug abuse, ladies and gentlemen. So, I'm here to, not to be macabre or to be grim, but I'm just saying that you don't want to wind up 6 feet under, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. You've been given the gift of life. You want to take action. You want to do something on this planet that can help other people. You want to do things that can give you fulfillment, and addiction just is not going to do that, you guys. Addiction to anything is a vampiric lifestyle, unless you're addicted to things that are salubrious and good for you. That, on the other hand, is a very positive thing. You could be addicted to health. You could be addicted to helping other people. You could be addicted to helping and loving yourself. You could be addicted to helping animals. You name it. But it's just crazy. It's crazy how many people die every fucking year from alcohol abuse. So, this video is mainly focused on alcoholism, but you could apply this to any addiction, even tobacco. Tobacco kills so many people each year as well. But I have less of a vendetta with tobacco than I do alcohol, because, you could smoke a pack of cigarettes while you're driving and not kill people. Tobacco doesn't really affect you and your equilibrium as much as alcohol. You could take 6 shots of alcohol and get behind the wheel and kill 20 people or more. You can cause a 20-car pileup on the freeway, and chances are you'll live. It's usually the alcoholic or the person drunk, and kill every year. It happens. It just happened to a close family member of mine. A close family member. His best friend was just killed by a drunk driver, 24 years old, between 23 and 24. Can't remember the exact age, but went for a drive. The guy had too much to drink, got behind the wheel, and killed the young man, and now he gets to sit in jail for the rest of his life. All that happened to him was he had a broken wrist. So, don't end up in the graveyard because you're too thick-skulled to realize that you need to quit drinking or quit anything. So, it's a beautiful day here in California. I can't tell you how good it feels now that I'm off the bottle. I've been off for a very long time. I really, while I was an alcoholic, never really noticed how lost I was and how stupid I was being, how ignorant I was, and how I was affecting everyone in my life, including my pets. There were times when I was an alcoholic where I got physical with family members, where, you know, I got mad at my animals and did things that I still regret. So it's easy while you're in a state of intoxication to think that everything's okay and that you're invincible and that, you know, you have everything under control, even though everyone in your life around you is telling you that that's not the truth, man. You need help. So people ask me often if I went to AA meetings. I went to 2 in my life, and that was it. And for me, it just wasn't for me. But if you can benefit from a group, and if you can benefit from people motivating you and talking to people, go for it. I'm not much of a people person per se. I like to approach things from a more individual state. That's just how I am. I like being somewhat of a loner. I have some few close friends, but I like spending my time alone. There's some certain things about AA I didn't really like, so I stopped going. My family was terrified though. They thought I would definitely get back on the bottle if I stopped going to AA, and I'm still sober. I hate alcohol. Even thinking of the flavor of it makes me want, it actually stimulates my stomach to the point where I want to throw up. So, again, there's so many people here at this graveyard. My grandma and my grandpa are buried at the graveyard down below here. But I know a few people just at this graveyard alone who died of alcoholism. People who had heart attacks from it, and people who, you know, their organs exploded and they bled to death. Internal bleeding from alcohol. Alcohol ruins your gut flora. It chews holes in your gut. It's not good, ladies and gentlemen. It makes you do stupid shit that you'd never do in a rational, sober state. And it takes a while after you quit drinking, after you've been an alcoholic for so long, to regain your clarity. We're talking months. So, just a brief little video. And again, this is going to be a long-winded rant. If you don't like my repetitiveness, etc., you can find a different video. There's plenty here on YouTube. But I do like to repeat myself, and that's just the way it is. That's the type of person I am. So let's get into the content now. And I hope this video can inspire you to get the fuck off alcohol and to question your day-to-day algorithms. I really do. I pray and I hope that you can quit drinking. Because when you're drinking, you're in a room, a dark room, like this. And you're stuck. And once you walk through the door and choose to become sober, now there's no walls. Now you can look up and see the sky, metaphorically speaking, metaphysically speaking. Now you can look around and see things from a greater perspective. You can start getting your health back. And once you decide to really quit and not just stop for like a month, then you can really walk through the doors and start getting your inner peace back. But it's going to take some determination to walk down these steps, because each step is a journey. Once you make the first step, then you're going to have to learn the lessons for making the next step. And then once you do that, you're going to have to learn the lessons of making the next step. So on and so forth, until at once you get down to the bottom and get back on your feet. And now you can look up and look at all the successes that you've made. And that's when you feel liberated. That's when you start to feel naturally high, naturally intoxicated off the good things that you've done in your life to make yourself healthier. And now you can look around and see how at one point you were in this little tiny fucking box, a prison cell. And now you're free. And now you're free. So on behalf of this channel, I hope that this message can inspire you to get sober today, or maybe you can pass this video along to someone who, you know, could benefit from this message. Because once again, the doors to sobriety are open, they always are. But it's very difficult to make the first step. Once you make the first step, the second step is easier, because the first step is always the hardest. And once you make the second step, it's easier to make the third step, and so on and so forth. So that's just the way it is here in this matrix, where, you know, when you're addicted to something, it's always the first week or two it's the hardest to get through. And that's where you really learn the most about yourself. That's really where you really separate yourself from either being a boy or a man, or a girl or a woman. You know, if you can't make it through a week, you're not going to be able to make it through the long haul. That's just the way it is. If you are an alcoholic, I do not recommend casual drinking. I don't recommend any of this garbage. I recommend complete abstinence. For some, you know, everyone wants to tout this everything in moderation shit. For some of us, abstinence is the key. And my God, it's so much easier to keep weight off without alcohol. When I was drinking alcohol, I was severely overweight. And one of the things that happens when you drink a lot of alcohol is you want to eat a lot. And when you drink and eat a lot, you get overweight, which puts more stress on your liver, you name it. So it's just a toxic cycle, heavily toxic. So again, it's a beautiful day here. I wanted to do something creative with my freedom today. I'm out here looking at these beautiful trees. That's another thing that I did a lot when I was going through the DTs and getting sober, is I went out in nature and got away from the city. Because the city was where a lot of my stresses were that were inspiring me and nudging me into alcoholism. I can't blame my external environment, but let me tell you, I drank to de-stress. And it took me a while. I had to get away from the city and detach from a lot of the things in the matrix long enough to where I could be away from the matrix for a prolonged period, or a long period of time, so that I could regain my clarity and my sobriety, so that when I went back into the matrix, the city, you name it, I could do so from a mature standpoint, where I knew I wouldn't go back to the bottle. So we'll just do one lap around this little area here, and then we will get to the core of this video. I love you guys, and you need to love yourself. If you're an alcoholic, if you've done stupid shit in your life, if you've hurt other people, if you have regrets from your addictions, learn from it. Once you stay sober long enough, you'll start to realize that it wasn't you. It was the alcohol. It was the drugs you were using. And the people in your lives, they'll forgive you. They will. It's a learning experience. And it's a tough one to learn from. So let's walk down the path of becoming sober. Again, you were in a box. Now you're outside the box. Now you can walk down away from your addictions so that you can have some fucking clarity, some peace of mind for once. Jesus Christ. So on behalf of this channel, on behalf of you getting sober, on behalf of your mental clarity and your health, peace be with you, and let's get into the bulk of this video. Hope it will inspire you. I've been making a few videos lately on alcoholism, and you know, due to the fact that I was an alcoholic for so long, and due to the fact that I've been sober for so long, I do feel that it's kind of my duty to try to help other people who are going through similar struggles. So to me, it makes me feel good inspiring people to get off the bottle, because there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of beauty in letting go of your addictions, and it is a sacrifice to a large extent, but it's one that's worth making for sure. Anything that you give up to help make you achieve greater states of health is a sacrifice that is very righteous. And that's one of the difficult things about getting healthy, is that when you really consider and sit down and meditate upon getting healthy, you're going to realize that you're going to have to make some sacrifices. And in this type of world, sacrifices are often something that are hard to make, because it's hard to let go of our addictions again. But there's a lot of growth that takes place when you let go of things that are killing you. And when you do abstain from negative vices such as drinking or whatever it is that's hindering you, you do become more mature. And maturity, real maturity, and spirituality go hand in hand. A truly spiritual individual is one who can weigh the scales of justice in his or her life and do what's necessary, even though it's not easy. So, in my opinion, spirituality and maturity and righteousness is all about doing the right thing, even though it's the hard thing to do. And it's all about doing the right thing behind closed doors. Because it's very easy to put off a front here in this matrix where there's so many liars, man, out here in this ocean of sharks, I like to call it, where, you know, when the doors are closed, many people aren't the same people that they advertise themselves to be. So, I'm not claiming to be perfect. I'm still working on many things, but I'm honest enough to admit that. Anyone who claims to be perfect has a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. So anyways, I wanted to make a video about how I got through Delirium Tremens. Delirium Tremens, I've said it once, I'll say it again, is the worst form of alcohol withdrawals. It's dangerous. It's scary as hell. Scary is an understatement. This is the most terrifying, one of the most terrifying experiences that I've ever had, and I have had multiple of them. I was so addicted to the bottle that my body got so used to being fed ethanol that when I stopped drinking, it went into massive shock. And what's weird is the one time that I had the worst form of, excuse me, I had drank like 2/5 at like between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. one night. And I fell asleep, I woke up, and the next day I didn't have any money for alcohol. So I had to go through that night without alcohol. And that night is when all the hell started. That's when I started seeing the maggots. That's when I started feeling the bugs crawling all over my skin. I had auditory hallucinations, visual hallucinations, feelings of delirium and impending doom, you name it. Life as it is was melting in front of me, and I felt like I was being dragged into the pits of hell. And that's what Delirium Tremens does. It is somewhat of a dark shamanic experience where you're taken by the hand of dark entities and left alone like a lost child, a lost baby, while you experience these strange states of consciousness, and all these entities and all these strange energies are swarming you and manipulating and touching you. So, my Delirium Tremens lasted much longer than most people's. My withdrawals lasted over a month. And it is these frightening states of consciousness which motivated me to get sober and stay sober. And that's why I think many people will have a difficult job, especially casual drinkers. They'll have a very difficult job getting and staying sober, because most people will never drink to the degree that I did and experience these states of consciousness, also known as delirium tremens. I like to refer to it as a dark shamanic experience. On many levels, it is a learning experience, most definitely. That experience is trying to tell you something, show you something, and enlighten you to some degree. And I didn't know that at the time because I was so terrified for my life, but looking back at it now, after being sober for so long, I'm very thankful for this experience. So I'm not trying to repeat myself. I wanted to make a video on what I did to kind of lessen the effects of the delirium while I went through the DTs, also known as delirium tremens. Let me tell you, many people don't make it through delirium tremens. Many people die. So if you're a heavy drinker, I really do hope this message can inspire you to value your life a little bit more, because you don't want to be that small percentage of people that doesn't wake up in the morning or has a heart attack due to this, or heart failure, you name it. There's many things that can go wrong during alcohol withdrawals. People have asked me, did you go to the ER? Did you seek medical advice? Personally, I didn't. I had faith that if I was going to stay alive, I was going to stay alive. I know that many times if you go into the ER, not only is it expensive, but they usually, at least based on my research, they give you benzodiazepines, also known as benzos, and drugs, etc. And I was so frightened for my life, I was so worried about the condition of my liver at the time that I didn't want to take any drugs during this experience. So, but I can understand why people go to the ER. I mean, for some people it can be reassuring to seek medical advice. Personally, I didn't. I only went to 2 AA meetings. After that I gave up on it, and I'll make a video on why I did that. But after 7 minutes of ranting, if you've made it to this point in the video, I am now going to share my little tips on how to get through the DTs much easier. At least these things worked for me. Number 1, showers. Showers, in my own personal experience, were one of the most grounding things during my delirium tremens process. Showers. I would go into the shower. I have a shower filter on my shower, so the water's nice and soft. I'd get it really hot, and I would sit down in the shower, and I'd let that hot water just pour over my head, into my hair, all over my body. I would do this kind of visualization thing where I was imagining that all of the water was washing away all of my addictions and all the negativity that was surrounding me. So I would close my eyes and just let the water hit me, and allow it to metaphysically just push all the negativity down the drain. And it did work tremendously. And one of the other things that I personally did, which I do recommend, is I have these big 10-pound bags of Himalayan salt, multiple of them. My family uses only pink Himalayan salt, so we have a lot on hand. And I would go into I would get a Tupperware container, fill it with Himalayan salt. I'd go in the shower, get my body completely wet. After I'd do my visualization techniques, turn the water off, and then I'd rub the salt all over my body, in my face, even in my hair. And after that, I'd put my hands together, and I would envision the salt pulling all the negativity out of my body and giving minerals to my body transdermally, topically. And this worked miraculously. I had this intuitive hunch to do this while I was going through this process, the DTs, and it did work profoundly. I did notice that after I took a shower like this, the effects of the DTs would lessen for a good 45 minutes to 2 hours. It would help me fall asleep, which is something that's very difficult if you're going through delirium tremens, because usually you're so afraid of your life that you feel like if you fall asleep, you won't wake up. It's like a curse. And oftentimes the DTs will make your heart rate accelerate to such an extent where when you try to fall asleep, you can hear your heart pound, and it's just like this mind fuck. The DTs is just like this horrible whirlpool that you're going down, where everything wrong is happening simultaneously, and you're feeling it not only mentally, emotionally, and physically, but you're also feeling it spiritually. You feel like you're going down into the pits of hell, and when you're in these states of consciousness, it can be difficult to fall asleep. Many people will say, oh dude, you need to smoke some weed to get through this, blah blah blah. I do not recommend that at all. In fact, marijuana, in my opinion, will only exacerbate and intensify the effects of what you're going through. And the very fact that you think, oh, I need some marijuana, man, you know, your body's already going through enough fucking stress. Why are you gonna puff some weed? Come on, man. So that's the first tip. Showers. Every time you feel like you're peaking and having the worst of your delirium tremens experience, I recommend getting into the shower and sitting down and getting that water hot and doing the visualization techniques. I recommend not using soap while you're in there unless you have something like Dr. Bronner's, like a cast-style soap that isn't filled with a bunch of just insane chemical compounds, etc. In my opinion, when you're going through the DTs, you're going to want your body to have the least amount of these chemical constituents, etc., on top of your skin, in your body, you name it. Because you want your mind to be clear so you can navigate through this experience and get out of the pits of hell and start climbing back into equilibrium. So showers, you're going to want to get a shower filter. If you don't have one, just get in there and do it. But just a side note, get yourself a shower filter. You're worth it. So maybe if you are a drinker and you know you're going to go through the withdrawals, you can stock up on a big bag of Himalayan salt. If you shop at the right places, you can get quality salt. $13 for 5 pounds, and that will last you a very long time, depending on how much salt you need, or salt you use, excuse me. Gonna try to keep this video under 20 minutes, so let's get to the gist of this. Green juice. I recommend doing some green juicing while you're going through the DTs. I like celery juice. I do not like using a lot of sugar, so especially when you're going through the DTs, because sugar is a massive excitotoxin. It can make you feel ungrounded while you're going through these experiences. You want the least amount of circulating sugar in your system while you're going through this process. That's just my own personal opinion based on my own research. So I did the cucumber juice. I'd go out into the garden and get cucumbers. I'd go to the store and get celery. I'd use a couple pieces of carrot, even though there's sugar in them, lemon juice, you name it. And I'd drink at least one 12-ounce glass of juice a day while I was going through this, accompanied with prayer and visualization work. Another tip I like to recommend is going out and getting some sunlight while you're going through this. And just like I told you to visualize yourself making it through this experience while you're in the shower and visualizing all the negativity going down the drain, I liked to visualize the sun cleansing my body. And what I did was I did this little metaphysical thing where I focused and imagined all the sunlight coming down and hitting my liver right below my right rib, and just concentrating in my liver and multiplying and healing my liver cells. And I would accompany that with deep breathing. And I would do that for about 10 to sometimes 30 minutes a day. That's how frightened I was for my liver. And I do believe that all these little things have a massive effect on the spiritual level, and it proves to the angels, you name it, in the higher spiritual realms, that you want to get through this and change your fucking life, which is exactly what Delirium Tremens is there for. It's there to make you it's there to scare you into submission because you're too hard-headed and your ego's too big to realize that you need to quit. So people who are heavy alcoholics, they're smacked in the face on the spiritual realm by this experience, also known as Delirium Tremens, because you're not mature enough to fucking realize that you need to drink, and you don't have the power within yourself to realize and come up to the conclusion that you need to stop now. So that's what this experience is there for. That's what withdrawals are there for. It's saying, hey, this is what happens when you stop drinking. Do you want to fucking keep doing this? It's killing you. Come on, wake up. Hey, McFly, are you in there? And I was stubborn. My DT experiences, I had a handful of them. The first one was really bad, but it was manageable. I was too thick-skulled to say, okay, I need to quit now. The next one was a little bit worse. The next one was a lot worse. The next one was extremely worse, so on and so forth, until I reached my peak DT experience, and I was scared so much for my life that I quit. It's to the point now where I'm still so afraid of going through those experiences that I don't even like to touch bottles of alcohol. I don't even really like to cook food that's been cooked with it. I don't really like I haven't used an alcohol tincture in so long since I quit. I don't even like using alcohol tinctures for herbs. I use glycerin-based tinctures. Because heavy alcoholics, you guys, all it takes is one little taste of this shit and a little bit of this stuff to go back into your bloodstream and you start craving it again. So I hate alcohol at this point. I don't touch it. I don't want to go near it. I don't like thinking about it. But I do like getting on this channel to help educate and help give people hope, especially people who are hopeless while they're going through this shit, because that's exactly what you feel like. You feel fucking hopeless, ladies and gentlemen. You feel dead and hopeless. So, another thing, I don't recommend going to work while you're going through the DTs. I recommend staying alone with close family members. If you feel like you need to get medical treatment, I do recommend that if that's what your heart's telling you. Do not do what I did just because I did. I probably could have benefited by getting medical attention, but I just had this intuitive sense that, hey, I don't want to spend a bunch of money. I feel like if God wants me alive, He's going to keep me alive. I had the faith, and I'm still here. Heart's still pounding. Mind's still going active. You name it. I've regenerated. I feel great. I feel better than I ever have. The one reason why I used to stay addicted to alcohol was that I liked the way it made me feel after the day after I drank. I liked to call it the afterglow. Well, I would drink the night before, and then the next day my anxiety would be completely gone, and it kept me in this perpetual cycle of anxiety nullification via excessive intoxication via alcohol. So let's just wrap this up. The video is about to run off. This camera stops recording at 19 minutes or so. Showers, hot water, you can use cold water as well. Visualization techniques in the shower. Solar therapy, also known as heliotherapy. Imagine the sun going into your soul. Imagine it going into your liver and regenerating your liver cells and giving your immune system and your body the needed energy to get through this experience. I recommend 1 12-ounce glass of green juice. Try to exclude the sugar. If you feel like eating, sometimes a greasy meal can really help balance you. Certain foods can help calm the mind, because if you are going through this experience while you're very empty on nothing, it can be your mind can just accelerate, and you can get really foods can help nullify the overactive thinking. So like I'd like to do like hash browns fried in olive oil with pink Himalayan salt. Try not to use a lot of ingredients. Try not to use a lot of soybean oils and these French fries and potatoes that are at these supermarkets that are mixed with like 100 ingredients. No, you just need potatoes, olive oil, and some seasonings. That can help balance you and ground you massively. And I like to add a little bit of ketchup on top and maybe some toast. You want to stay hydrated, ladies and gentlemen. You want to be drinking, I'd say, at least a half a gallon to almost 1 gallon a day of clean, restructured water while you're going through this, particularly water that you've blessed and made into holy water. You want to get some quality fluids with good intentions into the liver, into the system, into the bloodstream, you name it. I'm talking quick because I don't have much time left on this camera. In fact, I'm going to keep ranting. I'm going to shut this one off in a minute, and then we'll continue this rant because there's a lot to talk about. So let's do that. Alrighty. I was going to try to keep this video under 20 minutes, but I feel like, damn, I want to put a video out there for someone who's going through the DTs or alcohol withdrawals that's kind of long, so that they can chew up a lot of time while hopefully getting a lot of hope from my message here. So, you know, when I was going through the DTs, I did a lot of research on the internet that scared the shit out of me. I found a lot of YouTube videos as well that really didn't give me the message of hope that I was looking for. So I really do hope that if you are going through the DTs or an alcohol withdrawal, or if you just want to learn more about sobriety in general, that the stars can align metaphysically and metaphorically speaking and kind of draw you magnetically to this video, and hopefully you can feel motivated to click the thumbnail and watch this entire video. So I'm trying to produce something and make something that I wish I had when I was going through these experiences. So, continuing, I just ended this video, the last one, talking about things that I recommend doing while you're going through the DTs. I was summarizing what I had mentioned in the video prior, earlier in that video. I'm not trying to repeat myself, but I'm gonna. I enjoy doing the long-winded rants. Many people don't like long-winded rants, and if you don't, these videos aren't for you. I do repeat myself because repetition of a message does constitute mental programming. And in a world where you're being programmed to be very unhealthy and to become an addicted moron, these videos, these messages can help you kind of reevaluate yourself by repeating these messages and these principles in your mind. DTs, withdrawals, hot showers, visualization techniques, heliotherapy, green juice, and some greasy foods. I don't recommend eating eggs or fried cheese or whatever the fuck else everyone else is doing, but if that's your thing, just do it. Anything that can help you get through these experiences, I recommend. I do not recommend eating meat while you're going through the DTs, no. The weird energy in meat can just exacerbate the strange state of consciousness that you're going through, because it's death. Meat is death, ladies and gentlemen. So, another thing I liked to do when I was going through the DTs is when the experience lessened, when I was going through when my delirium wasn't so intense, I liked to go on a barefoot walk at night with my dogs. I didn't really like going out in the daytime because I felt so anxious and so weird that, you know, people during the day, I just felt like everyone was watching me, and these are just some of the states of paranoia that you're going to go through when your body gets accustomed to not being proliferated with excessive amounts of ethanol. Your body's going into shock, and as it goes into shock, your brain chemicals, everything is going through massive readjustment. So be prepared. Excuse me. Be prepared for some extreme shit. But if you have the keys, if you have some wisdom as to what you're going to go through, you can kind of pre-navigate it and get yourself ready, so to speak. So yeah, I'd like to go on walks. I didn't really like exercising a lot when I was going through my withdrawals. People say, oh, but bro, the DTs don't last that long. They don't last more than, 60 hours, 70 hours. That's not true for everyone, ladies and gentlemen. There's people that go through alcohol withdrawals for over 3 months. I went through alcohol withdrawals for over a month. And the PTSD, the post-traumatic stress from these crazy states of consciousness still haunts me. So, it's common for people. I don't mean to sound, I'm not trying to frighten people, but it's common for people who go through these extreme states of consciousness to get general anxiety disorder and to start having panic and anxiety attacks. And that's due to the fact that these experiences that you go through can be so traumatic that even years later down the road, if you experience something that reminds you of the state of consciousness you were in while you were going through the DTs, your mind can play tricks on you and actually trick your physiology into thinking that you're going through another experience like delirium tremens, and you can have a panic attack. You can feel like you're having a heart attack. You think you need to go through the ER. This has happened to me a multitude of times, but I've learned how to navigate through it. It's all a bunch of evil energy trying to bring you down and confuse you and throw you off course. So, another recommendation is talk to a loved one. Talk to someone who can understand what you're going through. For me, that was my mother, my brother. I didn't really talk to my dad when I was going through this. Me and my dad have kind of a strange relationship on that kind of level. And, I don't know. My dad had more of a, get through it, pussy kind of attitude. And I appreciate that. Because looking back, it's like, damn. Not that I was being a pussy. I mean, let me put someone else through these experiences and see what they go through, and then they're gonna. What I'm getting at is it's hard for the typical individual who's never gone through these experiences to really relate to you. But there are people who do care. If you need to seek medical help, do it. If you need to call like an AA person, Alcoholics Anonymous, go for it, man. Many of the people that I met during my first 2 AA meetings, and I only went to 2 Alcoholics Anonymous meetings before I stopped going. Many of the people, they had gone through the DTs. But when I shared my story with them, they were shocked. They had never really heard anything about this in people under 30 years old. DTs to this extent that I went through are not common for people who are under 30 and 40 years old. And this is usually something that people who have been drinking for over 20 years experience. So I can't imagine being someone like that. Like the amount of stress from just knowing, okay, I've been drinking for 20 years. Is my liver okay? It's just, there's so many things. It's like, just fucking quit, man. Find something else to do. Fucking play video games if you have to. That's another thing, man. Find some form of entertainment that can keep your mind and your body preoccupied while you're going through these experiences, such as video games. Personally, I don't play video games. I don't agree with them. I don't like them. But if that's your thing, go for it, man. All the power to you. I liked watching movies. That's another thing I like to recommend. Watch movies, particularly like comedy movies that can uplift your mind and your spirit, and video movies that are uplifting, like soul-nourishing films, things like that. I didn't really like watching a lot of dramas and action movies because it's just kind of puts you on a fight or flight state of mind, and you're already in one of those from your withdrawals. So laughing is a great thing to combat the withdrawals and the DTs, and just having faith that you're going to get through it while having a smile. It takes much more energy for your body to be in a state of worry than it does for you to be in a state of happiness. So happiness is one of the greatest tools to navigate through this hell that you're going through. So regardless of how extreme your experience is, try to put a smile on your face. Pray. Know that you're going to get through it, man, ladies and gentlemen. And I have faith that you will. You just don't want to go back to drinking. You don't. What's crazy is looking back at when I was an alcoholic, I really didn't see myself ever being sober. I was in such a toxified, stupidified state. I really never imagined myself sober, and I'm so thankful for being frightened to death by the delirium tremens experiences and the dark entities. They're so terrifying that I never want to ever be around those entities again. It was like a form of spiritual rape by these dark entities. One of the freakiest things that happened to me while I was going through my worst delirium tremens experiences, was my heart was pounding so hard. In my mind's eye, I've all the platonic solids, the cube, the triangle, they were all spinning and I could see them clearly. I was having visions of the Grim Reaper. I couldn't stop pacing back and forth. I went into the bathroom at the time. There was a purple and red rash that was moving all around my body very quickly. I literally thought I was dying. At one point, my skin appeared to be turning blue. I was getting cold. Then I go from getting cold to getting hot. It felt like I was dying. And during all this, I could hear little children giggling. It was an auditory hallucination. For those who don't know what that is, it's when you hear things that aren't there. Essentially, they're actually there. They're just on the spiritual levels where you're not normally attuned to. When you go through DTs, you get exposed to these states of consciousness, the reality of the darker and more angelic spiritual planes, because the DTs will actually stimulate your pineal gland, because it's stimulating your pineal gland, putting you through a mildly psychedelic experience in a dark shamanic experience, because it's trying to teach you something. It's trying to show you what the fuck is actually going on with your addiction on the spiritual levels, how you're being toyed with by demons, and how there's a myriad of angels and different family members and people in your life that are trying to fucking help you. But chances are, if you're a boozer like I was, you're too stubborn to realize that. So I wish you well, man. I hope that you can get through it and learn. But that was one of the scariest things, was seeing this rash, feeling my skin turn purple and blue, and having these little auditory hallucinations of children laughing in the distance, and having carnival music playing in the background, and like toddler music of bells going off and shit, and you're gonna die, he's dying. That was the type of shit I was hearing for hours. He's not gonna make it, he's not gonna make it. And meanwhile, I had an angel on my shoulder and a devil on my shoulder. The angel was saying, you are gonna make it, brother. Just learn from this. I know it may not seem like you're gonna make it, but I promise you, you are. And the more I entertained that thought, the more the demon on my shoulder tried to drag me away from that. So as much resistance as I gave this negative energy, the more it fought back. Until after a very long period, the DT experience kind of lessened, but the anxiety from the DT experience lasted for over a month. The strange states of consciousness, the insomnia from feeling like I wasn't gonna wake up in the morning, feeling like I was going to die. This was a very traumatic experience for me, and that's why I'm trying to share this stuff on this channel to help inspire people to, dude, if you're going down a path, if you're a young adult and you're an alcoholic, if you're 30, 40, I don't care how old you are, if you're watching this video, I really do hope that this video can help you, man. You do not want to go through what I went through. No, you don't. I remember having my entire life flash before my eyes, having like this photographic memory when I was going through these experiences of all my childhood experiences with my family, my brother, my loved ones, all these great memories, and feeling like they were just being lit on fire by the devil. Like, oh, you're getting all this taken away from you. All of it. But I didn't give up faith. No. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I approach healing from a more alternative perspective. Even though I was such an alcoholic at the time, I was still into alternative healing and juice fasting and all this other stuff. But I knew that certain herbs would be hard on my liver while I was going through these experiences. So I focused on milk thistle seed and things that are good for the liver. I ordered a nice big 1 pound bag of milk thistle seeds that hadn't been ground up from Dr. Kassar, and I would take them, put them in the coffee grinder and grind them up into a fine powder. I'd put them in capsules. I'd take 2 double wide capsules, pack the shit out of them with milk thistle, and then I would take 1 double wide capsule of gotu kola, also known as Centella asiatica, and I would take that like 3 times a day. So 6 doses of milk thistle with 1 dose of gotu kola with each dose. So 6 capsules of milk thistle and 3 capsules of gotu kola. I also took shilajit to help fortify my immunity and especially fortify and strengthen my mind. Shilajit, also known as mineral pitch or asphaltum, has a great, or mohimo, has a great effect on the mind. That is one of the most beautiful things to take for the mind. And while you're going through these experiences, things that fortify and strengthen the mind can really help you kind of achieve the next layer of consciousness so that you can stand above the demonic energy which is trying to take over your body. It's trying to kill you essentially, but it's not going to. Your body is far wiser, far more strong than you have the ability to understand. I don't mean to sound arrogant or that I know everything. I'm just attempting to convey some things that I've learned over the years. There are people, however, that die from delirium tremens, and I can't imagine how terrifying that must be. And my heart and soul goes out to those souls who have transpired while being in these states of consciousness. I do feel for them. And wow. It usually happens with people who are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. But there are young adults who go through it in their 20s and die from these experiences, and in their 30s, you name it. I can't imagine going through any withdrawal and dying from it. It would be the worst thing ever, because the withdrawals make you feel like you're going to hell, and to die while you feel like you're going to hell, holy shit. So again, my heart goes out to all the souls who have passed while withdrawing and going through these insane states of consciousness. So the key to this is abstinence. I don't resonate with this everything in moderation shit. No. I don't think alcohol should even be consumed in moderation. There's so many people that have followed the everything in moderation logic and had a few too many drinks and then got behind a wheel and killed someone, and now they're in jail for the rest of their life. So you may want to consider, depending on the type of alcoholic or drinker you are, just letting go of it. This is something that you don't need in life. This is one thing that completely ruins your body and your mind's ability to be able to rationalize properly. So I know so many people, I've had friends growing up, after one beer, I don't want to drink, you know, I'm just gonna stay here. I can walk, I can get a cab. After 2 drinks, you know, yeah, I still don't want to drive, you know. After 3 drinks, 4 drinks, 5 drinks, 6 drinks, now they're belligerent and they think they can get behind a wheel. And if you get behind the wheel and you're drunk, you're a fool. You're an idiot. No offense. If you've learned from it, great. But if you still do this shit, if you're a fucking drunk driver and you're watching this video, go to hell. Come on, man. Learn from your mistakes. You are putting so many people at risk when you get behind the fucking wheel because you're a booze hound. Come on, man. And it may seem like you're invincible now. It may seem like fun and games because, you know, while you're in your drunk stupor, you think that nothing bad can happen to you, or you think you're invincible, or that God's got your back. Let me tell you, there's some hard lessons for alcoholics to learn. And I sure as hell do hope that you can get out of your fucking thick skull and your ego for long enough for you to fucking question what you do. If you're an alcoholic like that, if you're a dangerous alcoholic, I hope you only drink at home. Do not go out and do shit. You're gonna get arrested. You can get other people hurt. This is just insane shit out here that this stuff is even legal. You should have to have some type of license to buy alcohol. You should have to have a clean record to buy alcohol. So many families die every year because there aren't breathalyzers on cars. That's another thing. There should be some type of intelligent smart device on each car that makes you blow into a breathalyzer before and after you get out of your vehicle. And I don't want some stupid fucking typical modern day goddamn breathalyzer where you can have your passenger blow into it. No, there's technology available out there that is smart enough to know that it's you, the driver, blowing into that goddamn fucking breathalyzer. I can't tell you how many alcoholics I know that were made by the law. Camera's about to shut off. I'm going to talk really quick. So many people have been given breathalyzers, but the breathalyzer technology is so primitive where they'll just have like a family member or one of their drunk friends while they're sober blow into the fucking breathalyzer so that they can start their vehicle. Let's continue this rant. I'm going to cut this one off, charge the battery, and we'll continue.
Alrighty, you guys. So that pretty much wraps it up in relation to the Delirium Tremens alcoholism video. Excuse me. I have a lot more information I want to talk about relating to alcoholism, but I figured I'd try to make a nice little, 50 minute to 1 hour video regarding alcoholism. I did the best that I could in this video. Going back and watching it, I left a lot of things out, and I'd like to address those certain subjects that I left out in future videos that aren't so long. Because many people don't have time to be watching these lengthy videos, but I did want to make a video that's long, that someone going through the DTs or someone going through alcohol withdrawals, hopefully they can find this video and really absorb it, really watch like an hour-long video relating to alcoholism, because that's one thing that did help me while I was going through these experiences is researching people who had gone through what I was going through and getting tips from them and things of that nature. It can be reassuring and comforting to touch base with other people as well. There's a lot of online alcohol communities, alcoholic recovery communities, excuse me. And there's also a lot of in-person recovery communities such as Alcoholics Anonymous, also known as AA, and a multitude of other organizations. Your family can help you depending on whether or not they're alcoholics or not. That's one dangerous thing, is when families are alcoholics. And just because you're drinking every weekend and you're not drinking during the weekdays with your family, that doesn't mean that you guys aren't dysfunctional to some extent. So again, this wraps this video up. I hope that it did help you, and feel free to message me privately. Yeah, add me on Facebook. Please hit the subscribe button if you already haven't, if you enjoyed this video. and hit the like button, and share this video with people that you think can benefit from it. Peace be with you.